Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of Beyond the Noise. I'm here with young Gracie Dagnino. She's going to be helping us today. And then in a moment, I'm going to be introducing our guest. But before we get into that, I wanted to take some time to let everybody know that we are fully aware of what's going on in today's society, how difficult these times are, and we are abiding by all of the social distancing rules. I got my mask with me today. Mama, you don't have to worry about a thing. I promise when I walk out, I'll have my mask on. And we are making sure that we stay away from these weirdos I got in the room with me today. With that being said, today's show is brought to you by Dirt Food, okay? Today, most of us are within 1 degree of separation from someone fighting cancer, diabetes, obesity, or heart disease. And right now, this COVID-19. The common thread is inflammatory and inflammation, and acidity. And the answer to that is dirt food. Just a half a teaspoon of dirt spice in a cup of coffee or a cup of tea turns your coffee or tea from acidic to alkaline. It is loaded with anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, as well as the main ingredient in our dirt spice, or the ingredients in the dirt spice is also the main ingredient in the dirt food granola. Hey, it's organic, it's vegetarian, it's vegan. Eat like you love yourself. God made dirt. Dirt don't hurt. Okay, so make sure you go to the Dirt Food website, eatdirtfood.com, go to Dirt Food IG or Dirt Food Facebook. Get you some granola, get you some spice, put it in your coffee, and have an excellent day. It tastes fantastic. I actually put the spice on my chicken. Also, I want to take a moment to talk about this disease and how it's affecting people, and how we watch this virus, and how it's affecting people, and how we watch television, and we see the numbers and we go, well, it's not that bad here, and the numbers aren't that bad there, or things of that nature. I think it's important that we understand that these numbers have names. And with that being said, I want to say RIP to a good friend of mine, and a friend of my family, been a friend for 50 years as far as my mom and dad is concerned, and I've known him all my life. Mr. Manning Skin Jones passed away from COVID, so I want us to make sure that we take it serious. And we're gonna miss him, and we love him. Shout out to all my people in Picayune, Mississippi, who is fighting this fight, and who are seeing people that they know that we can call out by name going through this time. So you guys stay encouraged. You guys remain positive and stay prayed up. So now that I've said those things, or said my piece on those things, today we have a tremendous athlete, an amazing head coach, and a really, really good friend of mine, Mr. Brent Springfield. Now, Coach Springfield is one of very few 6A head baseball coaches in Texas that is African American. Bo actually played professional baseball in the Pirates organization. And then after that, 4 years there, after that, he ended up playing football at TCU with me, as a matter of fact. We called him Uncle Bo because when he got on the yard, he was like 45 years old, and he could still run fast. He was a tremendous athlete. He's an amazing human being. He's an excellent baseball coach. Been a head coach at North Garland High School for the past 8 years. He's going to talk about everything from the 5-2 system of assessing, to how it looks in the minor leagues, to trying to coach in an environment like this. Ladies and gentlemen, good friend of mine, the 945-year-old Mr. Bo Springfield. How you doing, man? What's going on?
Man, I'm awesome as always, man. But I appreciate you bringing me out here, but I don't appreciate the disrespect.
Hey, I'm sorry, old man. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I don't mean to do it like that. We've been friends for quite some time.
Hey, you're always gonna do it. You're always gonna do it the right way.
Ain't no doubt.
Yeah. So, but it's great to be here. I appreciate you inviting me on here. To talk about some things today. Ain't no telling where we're gonna go with this.
Hey man, I know we just gotta make sure that the people can appreciate what we gotta say.
No doubt about it.
Let's start right here, man. I know you played Major League Baseball. and you got drafted in the 8th round out of high school. Now, I need everybody who's listening to understand that when you're 8th round, there are hundreds of rounds in a baseball draft. And he was drafted out of high school. So we're talking about multiple farm leagues. We're talking about multiple players because baseball is an international sport. So you got to understand what kind of athlete that we're talking about. So talk to me about that opportunity that you got out of high school. Why you think you got it and what you did with it?
Well, first of all, it was a product of being raised in an environment where we were always playing baseball. And and the thing about it is it came naturally to me. I don't know how it came to me. And so it was a thing until I eventually got coaching. We were raised and coached by my father and one of my best friend's father, Taurus Rucker.
Yeah.
And
so road.
Yeah. So that's coming up through our school years, and then I don't know. I could never explain it. I was blessed with talent always, and the thing about it is and I always had great coaches.
Yeah.
And so to enhance that talent.
When you say great coaches, man, was it because they cared? Because see, what they call today, they call it daddy ball, and I get why, and it doesn't resonate with our generation. It doesn't have the same meaning because the guys that coached us were our fathers, but we didn't have so many leagues and we didn't have all the different select situations. So they took pride in learning the game or explaining the game and seeing us all the way through. So when you say great coaches, what made them great? Was it the attitude they took? Was it the information they gave? What made them great?
Well, let me talk. My dad and it wasn't that they had too much information about the game, but they had great motivation.
There you go. Yeah.
And so, they knew how to push you through the wall. And so, and we was able to learn that at an early age. And so that was a great attribute to be able to become what we were. And so, but at the end of the day, the coaches that we did, ended up with in high school and coaches like that, and it was coaches that imparted the game on you. And so that where you were learning skills and learning how to actually field balls, learning how to throw the ball right, and learning how to do things like and so it was things like that, and it wasn't a lot of opportunities out there for you to have that. We didn't have individual coaching.
No, sir.
We didn't have all of that stuff.
No, sir.
We didn't have select baseball and stuff. So it wasn't that we were having to play major league, minor league baseball. And rec baseball. So it was a game. It was, and that's the thing about it. It was still whole. And once you turn to things about money, and now you get into select, and then you take the wholesome out of the game.
What do you mean by that, coach? Because you coach 6A baseball, so I mean you get paid for the job you do, and there's an expectation in that job.
Yeah.
So it would be easy for people to come back and be like, hey, well, you get paid for what you do because you do it for the love, but if you don't get paid, you don't eat. So how can you make a statement like that and bring some clarity to it? Because I do know what you mean. But let's bring some clarity to that statement.
Well, I coach in an environment where you don't have to pay to play.
Got it.
Okay. So, it's easy for me to say that.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm ridiculing the people that
right.
do it.
I wanted to be.
Yeah. And so it's a situation to where you go out and you spend thousands of dollars, a season, and you have 3 to 4 seasons in baseball. And so you spend all this money on expectations.
Right.
Okay.
Got it.
And so what are you expecting? And so are you expecting your child to be better than the next one? Are you expecting your child to have more appearances? Or are you expecting your child to have more capabilities to go to the next level? And so what is your expectations about spending this money? Okay. And so, but when your child still has the same opportunities and everything when they play rec ball, and the same opportunities and everything when they play high school ball.
Okay.
And so, but baseball is such a dynamic,
right?
Because you have so many opportunities, you have so many leagues, you have so many of this, you have so many of that, and and so you can't get lost in the minutia of talking about select. I was reading this article the other day. It was about talking how 13-year-olds are now having Tommy John surgery.
That blows my mind, man.
Yeah.
And they've even incorporated a pitch count. But when you're 13 and you've been conditioned at 6, you're a pitcher and you're coming off the hill already and you're trying to snap the ball down and everybody trying to get. I think we start a little bit early on some of those specifics. So you're right.
Well, and I mean, the way they look at it is they're going to have it eventually, and so that's the way a lot of people are doing it. A lot of people are doing it younger, and because it was an epidemic because of, and reason why people are saying it is, and the reason why the pitch count was established is because of select baseball.
Well, because I pitched in high school, I was All-American, and you counted the pitches at the end of the day.
No doubt.
How many pitches did it take me to strike everybody out? That was the main question.
No doubt about it. And that's the thing it's turned into that now to where you have to monitor and you have to be on top of it. You have to actually tally every pitch.
Yeah.
That they're throwing nowadays as we do. But where they leave it, and the thing has changed. I don't know. Don't hold me to this really, but I think it has changed to where they are now starting to monitor the select leagues.
With that, so how do you, especially now, because nobody's playing, nobody's practicing as far as teams or clubs, and some people are doing some video stuff like we are, and some instruction there. How do you, as a coach, how do you keep your players engaged? How do you make sure that because baseball ain't the number one thing that's important right now. But there are also youngsters who really don't understand the importance of what's important, and they have to stay engaged. And you got players when the season opens up. I mean, coach, it's gonna be microwave readiness is what you're gonna be working with. How do you protect your players from afar, keep them engaged, and still take care of the coaching necessities when you can't be present?
It's tough, it's because we're all in a situation right now where we're forced to do something where we've never done, and so and that's the thing about it, and the main thing right now that I'm focused on is them,
right,
and so and that's the thing is because you're going to get out of them what you're going to get out of them.
Man,
and so
you're absolutely right. So let's get out of the interview mode, because I'm gonna ask you straight up. So for me, it's hard for me to know where the line. I'm being completely honest. Where the line is between giving them the things you have to give them and staying focused on what's actually important beyond the sport. Because as a coach, we think what we do is important. It's impactful, I know, out off the field. But, I mean, we're talking about people not being able to leave the house, people not being able to go to work, people applying for loans to keep their businesses up. So baseball may be the 1,746 thing on their mind, but it's number one on the kids' mind. So where's that line for you? It's hard for me. It's hard for me to know when to back off or what this sounds like. And you as a coach, how do you draw that line?
Well, there's no line, and the thing is you gotta attack it either one way or another, and so either way you gotta look at it as it's more about the kid than the game. The game is gonna be there. I mean, and so these kids are dealing with so much right now that is crazy, and you got to think that they're in a situation where they are at home 24 hours of the day. Okay, and when they was really in a situation where they were in an environment of school or whatever,
go here, go there,
and,
go there,
go to school. Then I gotta go to practice, and then I gotta go do this, and then now I'm at home at 8:30, then go to bed. Now it's not like that. But not only that, it's like that for mom and daddy too.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And so, as being the outside entity, it's more of trying to talk to them and figure out, hey, well, you have things that you got to get accomplished. If you want to be what you want to be, you have these things that you got to do.
Right.
Okay. But it's not about pushing them to that. It's about caring and focusing on their mental where their mental side is right now, and focusing more on their mental side because. Everybody is limited to what they can be a part of as far as being an athlete.
Right.
Okay. You can always work.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Okay. There's always things you could be doing. There's always things you can do at home. There's always things you can get outside and do. There's always work you can do. Maybe and believe me, that's probably the best thing for you to do.
So with that being said, what can these youth league coaches, these dads, these moms, middle school coaches, or instructors just trying to get in the game, what can they do to ensure, like what, and I mean specifically, because it's easy to say, go out there and swing in the bat, or hit the ball, or open your eyes. Like, what kind of things can they do to ensure that their athletes stay sharp? What kind of drills, what kind of approach can they take that will make the game a little more fun and teach them something along the way? The biggest issue that we have with quote unquote daddy ball is that the dads don't really have an understanding of how the game should go, the fundamental development, and they're going to play their kid. Those are always the arguments. Well, we can suppress some of those arguments by giving them some instruction. So what would you recommend?
Well, first, if you want to talk baseball specifics, and if you're trying to keep your kid active and keep your kid involved, keep your kid sharp, so the main thing you need to make focus is on their glove. Okay? And so there's nothing you can do, to get more glove work. And that puts you on top of everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And
so give me a drill. Give me a drill that a dad can learn, probably find somewhere and teach in layman's terms. For example, I'm going to make a football example now because I know you're going to feel me on this. It's almost like taking an 8-year-old who can throw and making him the quarterback and trying to find a kid who can snap shotgun at 8 years old. When they haven't learned how to grip the ball, they haven't learned how to set their feet, we just get them throwing the ball back there. And then we're like, well, snap it right. That's what I mean. So how do we go from snap it right to coaches learn these things so you can teach these things?
That's fine. I mean, you start with the basics, okay? And everything you do, that in any sport that you work on, and you know this as a trainer, everything starts from the ground up.
Man, say it all the time.
And so, you in anything that you want to try to accomplish, and I'm a big proponent of taking the legs out of it. Okay, so if you're going to start a drill or anything, okay, you take your legs out of the drill first. Okay, and so that means you start on your knees. Okay, you get on your knees and whatever, and then now you're doing your fundamentals, you're doing your glove work. So even if you don't have a partner, okay, you can get a wall. Okay, and you call it wall ball. Okay, so you don't even have to do this with anybody out there. You can do this, and you can take 15 minutes out of every hour, out of every day. Okay, and you do that, and just think how much work you've done in that time. Okay, and so and it's little things like that where you can, and I can go into so many other things.
Right.
And
so there are ways that.
There's
build those fundamentals.
Well, yeah, no doubt about it, and that's the thing is this is a good time to be taking advantage of it, because you don't know, nobody knows
when it's time to start,
when you're gonna start.
Man, you're absolutely right, and not only is it a good time to be taking advantage of those opportunities, while you're in the house, it's also a good time to enjoy some of that good old dirt food spice. Let me tell you, it is loaded with plenty of vegan friendly, vegetarian friendly. It's all of these alkaline properties and qualities that you need. So as I said before, God made dirt. Dirt don't hurt. If you're gonna get on down with that granola, or won't you put a little bit of spice in your life while you drop it in your coffee or your tea. So you can find them on IG at Eat Dirt Food. You can find them on the website at eatdirtfood.com, and you can find them on Facebook. Bo, let's talk about you for a second.
Okay.
Now I heard that way back when they had dirt fields and you was out there, because you old, bro, you dinosaur. But I heard that you ran an extremely fast 60 time, and that was the breakthrough moment for you. That was actually timed by a scout. What was that time?
It was a 4.26.
A 4.2 or a 6.2?
Or 6.26.
A 6.2.
Yes, 6.26.
That's insane. I want people to really understand what that number. Now, what's the major league average for you to even just get some attention?
You're talking about 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah, from your position, 6'5", 6'6" is
Yeah.
fast, and you ran a 6.26,
Yeah.
and that's
On
what got
grass,
you,
brother.
and that's what got you to that eighth round status.
Did I say it was on grass?
So yes, you did. So let's talk about that, because we deal in speed. We deal in speed, and I have these arguments all the time, and I talk to these people all the time who don't have a real understanding of how fast you have to be and what kind of power and force you have to have or starter quickness. So have you seen, you've been coaching, head coach for 8 years, right? You've been playing your whole life. How many 6.26s have you seen other than yours?
None of mine.
Thank you.
I mean, so.
Why not?
I don't know. I do. I don't. And you still see speed.
Yeah.
And things, and so, but we talk about it all the time. Is records have stood for the test of time for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think, but the record's also meant to be broken.
Absolutely.
But, you look at how many records stood for 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so, that's the thing is one thing you can't coach is speed.
Right.
And
but
so,
can you improve speed through coaching?
You can enhance it.
Okay.
And no doubt about it.
So you think speed is a skill?
No doubt. You're blessed with speed, okay? But
you can always move the bus faster.
You have to work to get to that exceptional spot.
So with that being said, you had a quick bat, okay, and you didn't even make it to the bigs.
Mm-mm.
What happened?
Injuries.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
Man, I have never seen I've seen the most amazing phone work and computer work in the history of the world. I want everybody to take some time and take a look at young Graciela Dagnino work both phones, a computer, and she's working the production all the way in the back. She's making calls. I ain't never seen nothing like it. So if you can't, it's ridiculous around here. I mean, everybody who's watching, they better be able to see everything, because I ain't never seen nothing like that. All right, brother. All right, let's get back to that.
Hold on.
How did we get to that point? You 4 years in the farm system.
Yeah.
Didn't make it to the bigs. What happened?
Well, you get to the point where you're advancing and moving up and everything, and all that, and so then you get to a level, where you try to go to AA and get into AA, and once I was in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, that's a National League team.
So when you say AA, what are the
the affiliates? You have your minor league affiliates. You have rookie ball.
Everybody has to go to rookie ball, right?
Everybody.
Okay.
Well, not everybody.
Well,
you come out of college, or something like
then
that.
you can, okay.
Or whatever. But rookie ball is really for high school, or if they bring over from Dominican.
The Dominican, and some of those cats are what, 16, 17, 18 years old too, right?
Yeah, some of them.
Okay.
But legally they probably 22.
All right, keep going.
I lived it.
Yeah, I know.
But it's a running joke. But anyway, it's the thing is but when you look at it like that, is your age and where you come into the league and stuff like that, it was. It was tough. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, and because you got, I'm from Texas, and so when I came in and it was, you know, I came in and I got drafted, and a week later I had to leave.
Right.
I flew out and you know whatever and all that, and so I had to learn. You know, I went from Denison, Texas to the beach.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and you know we got a lake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, and so but it was a shock to the system,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's I don't know. You know, I mean, what I would tell people is, you know, is if you have someone that's going through things like that or whatever, and they have the possibilities of trying to
Right.
to
Advance. Yeah.
or something, you know, find someone that's been through it.
Let me ask you this. I heard you faced Roger Clemens.
One time, yes, I did.
Let's talk about that in back.
Well, I only see
How big was he? Is what I want to
Well,
know.
yeah, I mean, he was on a rehab assignment
Right,
of mine,
right.
and you know, and so it was a situation where we were still out there and all that, and yeah, I seen 3 pitches.
three BBs.
Yeah, I ain't never seen nothing like it. And
Yeah.
so, but still, you know, it's a claim to fame, and you know, he's a good dude. I got a chance to talk to him
Right
and everything, and so some people think he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame or whatever, but I'm a proponent of that he should.
Man, listen.
And so, you know, I mean, you may have his own room or however you want to put it, or you know, their own room or anything, but you know, he did a lot of things before.
Both. I think your journey is a little different than a lot of people's, man. So if you just getting known with us, Bo got drafted out of high school in the 8th round to the Pirates, played in the farm system for 4 years, and then came back to college and played 4 years of football. And shoot, you lettered 3 of those years.
Mm-hmm.
Played on the number 5 defense in the nation, played on the number 1 defense in the nation, and even got a look from the 49ers. You had a private workout with the 49ers when you finished
3 weeks.
finished playing. So we talking about a real athlete who's been through all of those transitions that I see people talking about on Facebook, where they throw numbers out there like this percentage of them makes it, so do this, this, and this. Well, we're talking to somebody right now who got drafted out of high school to play baseball. And when he finished with baseball, he came back and played 4 years of football. How does that how are you even eligible?
Well, that's another thing. You know, it's only thing when I played baseball, only thing I picked up was a ball and a bat. And so, you know, I didn't think about a book. So you just put it into perspective, and you put that in perspective of thinking if you not educating yourself for the next 4 or 5 years.
Right. Wow. Because you hadn't been in school since you got out of school.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't thought about it.
I didn't even think about that.
And so then you got to put yourself in a situation to where you got to come back and retake the ACT.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because you had to make sure you were in eligibility standing.
You have to reach eligibility because I had missed all that block.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I had to come back and retake the ACT. Okay, and so it wasn't easy, and it took me probably about 4 months, a little bit over 4 months to study for this test. And I mean, I did a lot of studying and everything, and at the time I was living out in Lubbock, and I was standing out there with a friend, and so I was doing all my studying, doing all this stuff, and trying to prepare myself to get this test accomplished.
So you can go play football.
And so I can go play football. So I can get in college. And
you hadn't played football in 4 years.
I hadn't played football
in 4
years.
That's crazy.
And so I came back after I got cut from the Pirates, and I called my old high school coach and tried to see if there was still some interest in me in playing football. And I was pretty good in football. I was all-state, all-American in football and baseball my senior year, and everything. And so it was an opportunity where I still had people that was interested.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, I took it up on myself and went and did my dirty work, and I ended up going to take the test, and I ended up making a 23 on the ACT.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, I mean, and so this is after not being in school for over almost 5 years.
So your expectation was to do well anyway. But I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about you getting cut. I really want to talk about that because to me, like we talked about failure in a previous show, and a lot of people don't like to embrace or accept failure.
Yeah.
But this is a classic example of how I define one has failed. You didn't get a chance to go back and do that. That was when they cut you. That was the end. Tell that story. I'm gonna tell my story just so people know. You know what you see is not necessarily what it was. People go through a lot of stuff to get to some certain places. So I bet you remember that day getting cut.
No doubt.
What's that? Let's talk about that, man.
I mean, it was a long day, and I remember it. And I remember going in because it was a situation to where I hadn't been playing and everything. And I couldn't play, and so
you had surgery.
Well, I had surgery.
Oh, yeah, surgery.
And I had surgery, but I couldn't throw, and so it was a point where I got there, and it was one of those days where you felt like things were gonna be weird, whatever. But when I get to the park and I'll go in and I remember, and my manager was, his name was Scott Little, and he's a great guy, and I tell you, man, he was a really good guy, and it was pretty much straightforward, and he told me that it was a situation to where you can't.
Yeah. You can't help
us.
Yeah, you can't help us, bro.
So I mean, we have guys here healthy that can do this, and maybe if you go home and try to do something different or whatever, or we can't even trade you because you're damaged goods.
Oh.
I mean, so pretty much, and so, they just gave me my straight up release.
So they just let you go.
They let you go. Yeah, they let you go, and so I mean, and when after that you left, and I left that day, and I'm telling you, it was probably not a week later, 2 weeks later, I was on the phone checking out my options.
Really? So you didn't fall into a pit of pity, or like you didn't fall. No. How did you handle it?
I mean, it was tough. It was tough. I mean, because I left behind a lot of good friends. You know what I mean, and I left behind my love.
Yeah,
I mean, and so that's the sport I love to play. And that's still do it. Yeah, I mean, it still is. And so it was a tough pill to swallow, but I persevered and I pushed through, and I had my family behind me, and my brothers and everybody pushing me through it, and so that's the thing. It was an easy transition,
really,
and because and I say that as far as mentally.
Yeah, and you knew you had another option coming from that space, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that was kind of helpful for you. Like you didn't bag everything on baseball. You felt like you had another vehicle you could drive.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I didn't know.
Okay.
It wasn't a situation where I knew. I mean, because they just don't hand out D1 scholarships.
No, sir, they do not.
I mean, so it's
contrary to popular belief.
Yeah, I mean that was, and you have to think I had put that work in 5 years before.
Yeah.
And so that's a situation where that carried over, and that was a great thing to have, and it was a great opportunity, and I appreciate Coach Franchione for everything that he brought and everything that he gave me, and Coach Patterson, and I mean, and so
ran into the coolest man on earth, Chris Thurman.
Chris Thurman, man. I mean, he was one of the greatest coaches, still one of the greatest coaches I know to this day. Yeah. And he coached both of us.
Yeah, he did.
So, I mean,
some fun times.
No doubt. Hey, no doubt. I mean, I still love Rolo.
Yeah, so we in the locker room, y'all, and in the middle of the game, it's halftime. Was we behind?
Oh yeah, well,
it's halftime. We behind, right? And in the locker room, coaches, the halftime coaches call you up, and then the head coach say something real quick, and then you break up as a defense, and the defense coordinator say something. Then you go to your position. Well, You're supposed to be paying attention. Everybody got the helmets off. Everybody looking up at Thurman. Coach Thurman got this real scraggly voice. Says, "Hey, gentlemen, look, this is what we got to do." So we all listening intently, and all you hear is smacking about. So Bo in the back now. I don't know how you get Rolos in your football uniform. But Bo in the back eating Rolos in the middle of the meeting.
It's a great snack. Let y'all know.
And Thurm, in the middle of his speech, "Look, guys, we have to be able to do that." Damn it, Bo, if you don't put them Rolos. So, and we went out and won. Actually, I actually took one of them Rolos from you before you put that back.
Hey, the Rolos brought the victory.
Hey, man, I believe it. I know you brought some halftime last time too.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you when I got cut. I told you about
it.
I
know. Yeah, I mean, tell that story.
Man, it was a Friday. It was a Friday before the third preseason game, and Jerry was the DB coach. Tall, slim, black dude, you know what I'm saying? Real cool. He caught me like right before I was coming inside. He put his arm around me, and before he say something, you already know what that means. He was like, "Hey, Greg, listen, they gonna let you go. You've done everything I asked you to do. I wish you the best. Yada yada yada." I like, "Coach, I appreciate it. But you know, when you get cut in the NFL, you got the Grim Reaper. He coming to get you." And this was before we had our pass, so you got your playbook. He'll come down. "Hey, Greg, look, I need you to bring your playbook. Go see the head coach." Well, I knew the Reaper was coming. I didn't want to get embarrassed, so I sprints. I literally runs off the field. Bro, I run off the field. I hurry up and take my stuff off. I jump in the shower real quick because I wanted to get out of there before anybody made it in there. So I grab my stuff.
Leave your book in your locker.
Yeah, no, I grab my book. I see the Grim Reaper coming from downstairs. I see him. I'm going upstairs. He's coming downstairs. So he was like, "Greg Waller." I took my book. I put it on the side. I said, "I already know." I was like, "I already know." Threw him the church thing and everything. Slid upstairs, man. Walked into Marty Schottenheimer's office, and this is exactly how the conversation went. "Greg, we're gonna let you go. As you can see, we got some really good players here, and we don't know if you can help us." Now, after that, all I heard was wah, wah,
yeah.
I mean, the rest of it, no words was coming out of his mouth. So I'm sitting there, and then I heard him say, "You got anything else you want to say?" Well, if anybody knows me, I always got something to say. I was like, "You know what, Coach, I appreciate the opportunity. It's been fantastic for me. Although I feel like I could have contributed more, this, that, and the other. Thank you so much." He was like, "Best of luck. We'll see you when we see you." Everything else from that point was a blur. Hey, you grab this ticket, you grab that check, you go get your bag. That man sitting downstairs waiting on you.
Yeah, in the van.
He was waiting, yeah, because he had to pick some other people up. So he's sitting down there waiting on him. So I get in the van, I dap a few people up, and I'm talking about that ride was just terrible, excruciating. You know, ain't nobody talking, and he's tired of driving, but you see the look on his face. He was like, "Keep your head up." So I ain't talking to nobody the whole time. I get on the plane, or I sit on the plane for 2 hours. The plane ain't moved. They make us all get off the plane. Somebody, windows, boy. So now I'm 5 hours delayed. We get back on the plane. I mean, I probably look pathetic because the flight attendant walked up to me, and I am not making this up. Bless her heart, her name was April. She looked at me and she said, "Baby, you okay?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She came back. She came back with 2 bottles of Bombay Sapphire. I was like, "Hey, you look like you need to
house.
me."
It's on the house.
So we finally get back to the DFW. And my girlfriend at the time, Marty Garcia, shout out to Marty. She's actually an attorney right now. You know Marty, an attorney in the Valley right now, doing really well. She comes, picks me up. We don't talk the whole ride back. Like, we don't say no words to each other. And we get back in the house. I take my bag. I sit down. She sits down. She looked at me, and Marty might be 4'11". Super little. She was like, "It's gonna be all right, baby." Boy, I laid my big old head in her lap, cried like a baby for about 2 hours, man. And then was the worst part, I had to go to school on Monday. Because I never, actually it was the best part if I think about it. Like I stayed enrolled in school. I called all my teachers and was like, "Hey, doing this NFL thing, but if I get cut, I need y'all to make sure I'm gonna be
Still
enrolled.
good
I'm not finna go do another semester. So I got cut on Friday. I was in class on Monday with the saddest look ever on my face.
It's horrible, man. It's a horrible feeling.
Yeah, it is. Cause I failed, and if you grown 21, you don't really understand the impact of failure when you never really failed. You said it earlier. You was all American. You was all state. You made it to the league. You went back. You played in college. Then you hurt your hamstring running for the 49ers, and they liked you. Talk to me about that, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good thing. It was a good time to be out there, man. And I was out there, terrible ones, and all those boys was out there, man.
Yeah.
You know, and at that time, it was an unexpected phone call because, you know, I was actually at your house.
I know.
Yeah, I was actually.
I remember how your eyes got bugged.
Yeah, I was actually at your house when they called. And remember, I mean, I was on a plane, what, 2 days later?
2 days later.
Yeah, and so, and I was out there over 2.5 weeks, and so it went good, and you know, I had a shot, and it just, yeah, you know, once you hit that thing, and I didn't even make it to training camp,
Right?
you know,
You
right before training camp, and all of that, and so, you know, and they brought in 3 of us, and they kept 2. And so it was a numbers game.
Yeah.
That's all it is, and that's what some parents don't understand. That these numbers don't lie.
They don't lie, and they gotta make them make sense. Like the percentages aren't always based on not having an opportunity. The percentages are based on almost like applying for a job. Like maybe you don't fit the criteria for that job.
Yeah.
So how do you give yourself the best opportunity for that job? Well, you got to run fast. You have to run fast.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. You have to run fast. You got a chance with the 49ers because you ran fast.
Yeah.
And you could tackle. Because we played together. I know how that goes. Had I ran faster, I would have had a better opportunity. Had I had a faster time. Because my 60 time for baseball, that's the reason why the Royals and the Mariners were interested. Both. I ran on grass, and for the Royals, I ran out. It was a 6.56, I believe, something like that. And I was a lefty who could hit. So that's why they were even interested. So being able to run is major.
Oh,
You gotta be able to play.
And they tell you. Everybody says the speed kills.
Every time.
Yeah, and so that no matter what sport it's in, and so so if you can get faster, get faster. You know, and so if you're blessed with speed, enhance it.
There it is, right there. How long do you think it takes to actually? Let's say somebody has a mechanical issue, or they just fast, and you see. Is it microwavable, or is it something that you got to treat as a skill?
No, I mean nothing is microwavable, and so everything is work has that attached to it, and so it's so much you put into it. You don't run faster unless you run faster.
There it is. So I'm gonna shift to Gracie for a second because it's what she does. She teaches speed, mechanics development, and enhancement. Because we teach the 60-yard dash. What are some of the things that you see? The biggest percentage of mistakes that we see in kids all across the board. It don't matter the age range. What do you think are the 1 or 2 things that we see on a regular basis that we have to correct and overemphasize consistently?
Proper arm movement and foot strike.
Foot strike and arm movement. Most people don't know where their feet go, and most people don't know where their arms go. And that's where your power sources are. And what's so funny is that it's hard to realize those things, that it takes repetition over time. Which leads me to a question for you. You've been a head baseball coach 8 years, building a program to a sustainable place. What are the things you see consistently, year in and year out, that you have to work on and develop?
Man, just being at the spot that I'm at, and understanding where I came into. It was when I came into the situation that I had. It was I came in. I had one team, and that was a varsity team. And this is a 6A program.
You had one team.
There was one team, and they had one varsity.
So no JV.
No JV.
So you built
And
a program in 6A from scratch.
From scratch.
Mm.
If you've been nice.
So you scratched
Yeah,
the program.
Scratch.
And yeah.
And so I mean, but
Chicken scratch.
yeah, no doubt about it. And, you know, but that's what's the thing about it is, and that's what makes it so rewarding, because throughout the years that I've been there, and I'm still there throughout 8 years and understand that, and I haven't won a ton of games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've won a fair share, and it's come to the point about, you know, everybody wants to win. And so it was tough to build a program there because, as in a program where you have to realize at the end of the day, when I became the head coach there, I didn't know that I had to coach everything. You know, and so it's a situation to where you have to coach everything. And because, you know, it's a difference between having a baseball player and creating a baseball player.
Man, I say that
And
all
so,
the time.
yeah, and you know, and that's a situation at what my job is, and the kids that I have are awesome kids. You know, I mean, they work hard and they come in with a skill level that's lacking than most of the programs that you see in 6A baseball, especially in the state of Texas.
So they got to learn
so,
how to play. You get kids that have to learn how to play baseball before you can even practice baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I got to teach kids what a glove is.
See, and that's what I mean. I think that's, oh man, that's so powerful, because I say this, for example, you know, doctors practice medicine, right? And attorneys, they practice law. And it's called a practice. But I want to make a point to that. So all of my coaches out there that's listening, and Bo, we talked about this before. I think one of the biggest problems we have in that space is that we start with practice.
Yeah.
So before a doctor can practice medicine, they have to pass the bar, right?
Yeah.
Now before they pass the bar, they have to go to school for 8 to 10 to 12 years sometimes. They have a residency, they gotta go through a master's program, they gotta go through a doctoral program. So they have to learn about medicine for 12 years before they can practice once. We don't spend enough time learning. We spend all this time practicing without concept. I think the best thing ever happened to me for that short period of time I was in camp in the NFL is they taught us little things of how to play football. So before you could practice plays, you need to learn how to play football. So that's our mantra at PE. You got to learn how to do this. You got to learn this concept. You got to learn these movements before you can practice running fast. So it sounds like to me, you got to teach people how to play baseball before y'all even get the chance to practice.
Well, yeah, no doubt. I mean, and that's how you have to structure things. And it's gotten better because the program has gotten better.
Okay.
And so, you know, the program was you know, an infant when it started and everything, and it had to grow too. And so, you know, and I've grown. I've grown tremendously.
How so?
It's not much selfishness about, you know, it's being about me and wanting to win. You know, and instead of understanding the environment that you're in. And so coming into grips, and my wife, you know, Misty, I love her to death. And you know, she deals with situations to where I have to come home because she wears it, you know, because she see me wearing the stress and all that and everything of the lack of being on the winning side and being on the short end of the stick sometimes. And so, but at the end of the day, you know, I love what I do, and I love the kids that I have, and I love coaching baseball in the state of Texas. It's it's tough to say that any state out there is playing any higher level of baseball, And
Right.
you know, because there's so much.
Big time players
There's
out
so
there,
many,
man, that
yeah.
we see all the
All
time,
the time, man.
All the time.
Yeah, I mean, all the
They're
time.
everywhere,
It's-
and they're young. And softball too.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, I've seen
you know.
some big time girl softball players just
No
right
doubt.
here in the Metroplex.
Yeah.
That just they deserve a shot. And they'll get that shot.
He had the number 2 draft pick last year, right up the road. And,
Yeah,
College
and Colleyville Heritage.
Heritage, I
Yeah.
mean, so you know,
Tremendous
that's
players out
yeah. So it's that's a thing, and so but building a program and trying to sustain it and trying to grow it, and you know, and when you are able to get a few players in that
Mhm.
you're able to enhance their skills instead of build skills, that's when you start putting together wins.
Say that
Yeah.
one more time.
You know, when you're able to enhance the skills instead of build the skills.
So
So-
if in your area there was an opportunity for the fundamentals to grow the kid into the program,
Mm-hmm.
if they were learning how to play, so when they got to high school they could practice,
Mhm.
then it'll be beneficial for all parties involved, is what you're saying.
No doubt, but you don't have that luxury because there's not that many kids that are taking the opportunity of playing baseball.
And it don't matter what color they are.
No, it doesn't.
That,
It
that-
doesn't. It
I
doesn't.
wanted to say that.
I mean,
you know.
minorities are lacking, no
Of
doubt.
course, and that's an
and-
environmental situation. But if we're
It's
talking
a-
about as a whole,
Yeah,
there ain't a lot
yeah.
of baseball players. out there.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and one reason that, and I stick by this wholeheartedly is it's the only game that's played without a clock. You know, I mean, and so we are so fixated on the now and fixated on wanting things to be in the quick fix, and when we want such that instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so but when you typically break it down and you say a Major League Baseball game on average, you know, is probably 3.5 hours long. How long is the NFL game?
3 hours 15 minutes, bro.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you can't tell me of it's a time thing,
Right.
or anything. Yeah, they adjusted the time thing, but with the kids, you know, I mean, you don't have that media market selling the product as you do for football and basketball and everything, because basketball, they're out there, they have nothing on. They can
Right.
see, you can see the athlete, you can see these guys. You know, you have to understand that you have one of the prolific athletes in baseball named Mike Trout
Mhm.
that just signed a $400 million deal,
Mm-hmm.
and probably 80% of the world couldn't tell you who he is.
Mm, right. And another thing
So-
is everybody ain't like the ball doesn't move everybody.
Mhm.
That's the thing. And I love baseball is my favorite sport, but what I realize when people say it's boring is because the ball ain't moving everybody.
Yeah.
Like it's the pitcher and the catcher can control the entire game at the pace they want to, and the ball may not touch anybody except them two for 12 pitches.
Yeah.
It's different when on the basketball court the ball is always moving, so people are moving with it. In football, once the ball is snapped,
Constant action.
Yeah, constant action. The ball is taking you everywhere. The ball don't take you everywhere in baseball.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's hot, it's fast, and it's hard to hit. It's hard to see. It's hard to catch.
Mhm.
So it takes a quality level of skill and
Mhm.
hand-eye coordination. So if you out there and you get 3 at bats and you struck out 3 times and you can't catch, you're not gonna want to play long.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean by not learning.
Well, that's what that takes you back to what we talked about earlier, and you asked me about failure.
Yep.
And how did I accept failure when I got cut?
Baseball.
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 I mean, you know, what I mean, and that's an environment that you're a part of,
Mhm.
and because you look at it and it's the only sport out there where you can be a Hall of Famer and fail 70% of the time.
70% of the time.
Think about
Be
that.
terrible.
Be terrible, and you're a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so you have to be able to be able to accept failure, okay? Because you know that you're gonna have failure, okay? And that's the thing. And when it comes with that sport, you know, and that's what these people have to realize is, and I tell these kids all the time, you know, is okay. Just because you went 0 for 4 today, okay, you made 3 great plays in the field. You know, I mean, so now you're 3 for 4.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? You might be
Mhm.
over 4 for the plate, but you made 3 great plays. You 3 for 4.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, quit looking at it at one side of the plate. You know, and all that. You know, what I mean,
Mhm.
so you know, be a complete player. And so when you start breaking it down and you don't look at the game as, you know, oh, they're not doing anything at the plate, or they're not doing anything in the field, and they're being statues or whatever, I mean, you have to be able to understand the game.
Yeah.
And that takes people that do understand the game.
So you gotta
to
learn.
tell these kids.
You gotta learn. You gotta
Yeah.
have some conceptual understanding.
No doubt.
Man, that's why I like to talk to coaches and people who are students of the game, because we love to believe that the talent is the X factor. In my opinion, the talent is the door opener. You know, because I played against people way more talented than me.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't better than me for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for that,
Mm-hmm.
because I probably knew more that day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There are people who I tell my athletes all the time, a lot of you guys are faster than me, but I can outrun all of you.
Mm-hmm.
But I know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, you know how to play the game. You're building young men. What is the biggest thing? I want to leave with this one. What is the thing you get from it the most, and what are you giving to it so that you get back what you're looking for? And I'm just talking about the game itself.
Well, I mean, it's great to see a kid that hadn't played for, you say, 3 or 4 years or whatever, and then then they come in and they work and grind and try to figure out something and end up having tremendous success.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, and so and I'll give you an example. I had a kid come in last year, and he came in from Wiley, and his name is Timmy Gautier. He had a awesome job at the time, and he hadn't played baseball for 4 years. And he came in last year, and he came in and, I mean, had an unbelievable season and ended up winning the newcomer of the year in our district.
Really?
You know, came a couple of votes from winning MVP.
Hmm.
And this is something that gives you gratification, because, I mean, when I told him, you should have saw him light up.
Wow.
Because he hadn't done it, in so
Yeah.
long. And he's like, I wish I never gave it up. He's a great
Yeah.
kid. And so, but, and what I take from it is to see the success and see the things that you do put out there and know that it actually is working.
Right.
I mean, because
It's not in vain.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all about the W's and L's,
Mm.
and I had to come to grips with that, and I had to learn that, and so, and what I hope that they get out of it and hope that they see from it is that they learn the game, because I try to teach them a lot of things that I wasn't taught, and a lot of things that I had to learn. But I was talking to one of my good friends the other day that I played baseball with the Pirates, and Elton Pollock, and he said, and he told me, and this was his statement. He said, man, I was thinking, and he's a head coach out in South Carolina right now, at the college, community college out there, and he was telling me the other day. He said one thing that didn't happen when we played ball there. He said, I can't remember a lot of instruction that we had.
Mm. You
You
just
know,
went out there and played for the
we
love,
just-
and you got pushed through the wall.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and, a lot of people wasn't instructed. We wasn't getting a lot of coaching, and we wasn't getting a lot of this, and and everything, and it made sense. And I'm like, yeah, as you said, yeah, I get it too. But I learned a lot more about the game once I got into coaching.
Right.
So
So you had to humble yourself enough to not be a know-it-all.
No doubt about it. And I mean, that's what you live off the saying, and when you know everything, you can't learn.
You can't learn nothing.
And
Yeah,
so-
if you already know, it's
and-
impossible to learn.
And I still learn today. I'm reading a book now. So it's
What's the name of it?
He's actually the work trainer at TCU, and I just actually got it in today. I haven't started it yet,
Okay.
but I'm about to start it here today. He's got a lot of stuff about he's talked to Matt Carpenter, and he's talked I got all these people in that book and everything, and so I'm trying to enhance my knowledge of it,
Right.
and try to keep learning and grow, because I tell my kids, that's why I go to clinics every year. That's why I do this, and that's why I do that, because y'all got to understand, and you players out there got to understand that no matter what you do in practice, it's not enough. And no matter what we do as coaches, it's not enough. we gotta keep it. We gotta keep learning. We gotta keep
12 hours to
and
2
so-
hours, brother.
Yeah.
You put that time in. They gonna wrap us up, man. I love to go over time,
Oh, no doubt.
and I would have been, Gracie would have had a lot more to say, but I ain't never seen nobody
Oh,
work that
Grace
kind of
so-
magic
I'm
over there,
proud-
man. It's
I'm
crazy
proud
what's
of
going
Grace
on
so
over
tonight,
there.
though, Grace
That
so-
focus, she got hands
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
she
crazy.
She talking louder today.
It's,
I mean,
it's a good day.
yeah, you know, it's already.
I wanna leave with this. I wanna wrap up with this, and I've been thinking about this for a while. And I know, Bo, you and I have discussed these things. And today, and what we're dealing with right now, and some of this stuff is personal to me, and it's a hard time for a lot of people. It's a lot of uncertainty. I think that as a people, as Americans or just brothers and sisters or whoever, the human race, the advice I would like to give is, I think it's important for us to stop looking out for our own self-interest and start looking out for our own best interest. And what I mean by that is this: if you're looking out for your own self-interest, I'm more than confident you'll have a negative effect on the people around you and the situation you're going in. But if you look out for your own best interest, then you have no other choice but to look out for your homeboy, your neighbor, or your wife, or your kids, or your cousin. Because if you make it better for them, it's got to be better for you. So think about those things when this frustration time leads to anger. And then this anger leads to some decisions that you're gonna feel like we have to make. Just look out for your own best interest and try to stay away from your own self-interest. With that being said, you guys could have been anywhere in the world. You decided to hang out with us. We will see you next Monday. We appreciate the time.